Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald has been freed.
Jesus Christ, of Nazareth.
Welcome again to my channel. This is Trev from Trevessence, and today we're going to talk about the recent freeing of Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald, who was facing a capital murder charge in the death of his wife, Tony Ann MacDonald, in 2020. But before we get into the story, guys, if you are new here, a very special welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you are a returning traveler, I want to say thank you for your continued support. Now let's get into it. On July 20 of 2020, when Tony Ann MacDonald was murdered and set on fire in her car, the world and those who knew her and loved her were stunned. But no one more so than her husband, Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald, who, as we were led to believe, could not believe that lightning had actually struck him twice. It was the second time that the Portland businessman had been widowed. In May of 2009, his first wife, Merlene MacDonald, who was only 50 years old, was gunned down outside her gate on Broadsbrown Avenue in Portland. At that time, it was believed that this was a random act of violence carried out by an opportunistic criminal. No one was charged for that murder until the death of Tony Ann MacDonald. Surprisingly enough, both women were married to Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald at the time of their death, and both died violent deaths. In the case of Tony MacDonald, it didn't take long for the police to nab Denverlin Minot, who confessed that Beachy Stout had paid him $3 million to murder his wife. He then outsourced the job to Oscar Barnes, who lured Mrs. MacDonald to a deserted area in Sherwood Forest, where he told her he would be picking up 2 guns that she wanted to purchase. Instead, he stabbed her multiple times before setting her body on fire in the car. During the intense investigation into her death, police revisited the deaths of MacDonald's first wife and found probable cause to charge him with her death as well. That trial will begin sometime this year. Subsequent to the revelation by Denverlin Minot that Beachy Stout had paid him $3 million to murder his wife and that he had outsourced the job to Oscar Barnes, all 3 were arrested and charged with Tony Ann MacDonald's murder. They had all faced the Supreme Court Judge Chester Stamps, who, after reviewing the evidence, has set Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald and Oscar Barnes free. The courts believed that there was insufficient evidence to prove that Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald conspired to kill his wife, even though the court heard the recordings of the conversations between Denverlin Minot and MacDonald. When those recordings were played in court, MacDonald's denied that it was his voice on the recording. As for Oscar Barnes, the court believed that there was no physical evidence tying him to the murder, except the testimony of Denverlin Minot, who said he had subcontracted the killing to Barnes. So far, Minot is the only one who remains behind bars, serving a 19-year sentence as imposed by the courts. Boy, guys, this really licked me for 6. I just can't believe that Beachy Stout would have gotten off of this case. Now, remember, there is a lot of evidence, a lot of digital evidence, the phone calls, the text, everything that was pointing to him, the exchange of the money from him to Denverlin Minot. So much evidence. And yet, the judge set him free. Guys, we keep talking about the corruption. It's only whispering off our lips. But believe me, it runs deeper. The injustice that goes on in Jamaica. The poor man will always pay for his crime. The rich man not so. This made me wonder if Kilvera might end up getting off the case of murdering his wife Melissa as well, because we see how rampant the corruption is running in Jamaica. And as I said before, the judge has the final say. The judge is the one who is going to determine what is admissible and what is not. And he's the one who is going to give the instructions to the jury as to what their verdict is supposed to be. Because if you think the judge does not sway the judgment of the jury, you make a sad mistake. The judge will tell you to go back there and reconsider. I have sat on a jury before, and the judge sent us back because the verdict that we brought forth he did not agree with. Sent us back, tell us to go back and review it some more. Look at XYZ some more. And when we did and came back with the verdict that pleased him, then he signed his seal of approval to it. This goes to show that we cannot be too comfortable in our beliefs and our expectations of how a criminal case is going to turn out. In the case of Kilvera could basically walk free. You see the other day when they came up with the Shoshana Miller story, I told you all that is a way to distract us. That is a way to present doubts in any potential jurors' minds. So that right there is the setup for Kilvera's case to turn out just like Beachy Stout case. I thought Beachy Stout's case was a slam dunk, just like I'm still thinking, I should say, that Silvera's case is a slam dunk case. But guess what? I'm just another internet legislator on the case. I am not in the courtroom, I'm not the judge, and I'm definitely not going to be on the jury. So, guys, don't get too comfortable thinking that because you see what you see as evidence and that in court this evidence is going to convict the person. It may not turn out to be so. At the end of the day, it's going to be the judge's decision. Okay, that's where I'm going to end my piece for today, my friends. Until next time, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters.
Father God, I'm begging you to guide me on my journey. Lord, guide me while I tread this rocky road. And Father,